Welcome to Drunk on Social, the Symposium, where we help you stay ahead of social media trends, share the latest news, and highlight the strategies that are working to help you grow your business. Now let's join our hosts, Tristan and Jeff, in 3, 2, 1.
All right, episode number 2 of the Drunk on Social, the Symposium. We are back, myself, Jeff Fitzer, with my good friend, co-host, business partner, and gosh, we might as well just move in together and become roommates. Tristan Nahumada, welcome, my friend.
What's up, everybody?
So if you remember from episode number 1, we really just broke down and set the table for what this podcast is going to be all about, which is discussing all things social media, delivering to you what's coming, what's here, what you should be using, why you should be using it. We talked about, gosh, what was it, Tristan? 10 platforms. Let's review them real quick. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube, ClubHouse, and there was one more. Reddit. How can I forget? 10 platforms that we are going to focus on. You never know when we're going to add something, but the point is we've got them all covered. But before we go in and dive into each individual one, we thought we would discuss today general social media strategies. And Tristan, I want to mention this. In fact, I just posted this in the Facebook group, Drunk on Social, last night. So last night, as in we are recording this on March the 8th. So March 7th, if you want to go see the post about another post in Lab Code Agents about somebody, and the guy that the poster themselves wasn't necessarily knocking the strategy, but the strategy of like sharing our lives, like just oversharing. And why don't doctors do it or plumbers do it? And there was like 400 comments, and it was about 50-50, 50% saying, I agree, it's the right strategy, and 50% saying like vomit, like throw up. People shouldn't do that. I don't follow people. Well, I know what you and I believe. So let's talk about that today. Let's talk about just the general strategy, why we're doing this and why we think it's so important. Take it away, my friend.
Well, dude, I think it comes down to fully understanding the world that we live in, right? You either go full on or you don't. And if you're going to have massive success in social media, or at least attempt to, you're going to have to be as authentic and consistent as possible with this. And that's going and showing what you're doing on a daily basis or having some type of a routine, right? I know what he was getting at when he said, you shouldn't be posting what you're doing, what you're eating, what you're playing with on a daily basis. But the fact is, if you want to connect with a bigger audience, that audience needs to feel like they're part of your life, like they're part of your daily happenings, your actions, and they want to connect with you at that level, man. Yeah. And when people don't do that, then you run the risk of not being able to connect with them authentically, because they're not just going to show up to when you're showing them all about your new listing or whatever it is that you sold that day. Nobody gives a crap, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about connecting with them deeper and then showing them what you do for a living.
That is the truth, man. It's relatability. And the thing is I think a lot of people lose sight of the fact that social media, what's the first word in those 2 words? It's not business media. It's not advertising media. It's social media. It's social. And so, in fact, one could argue the opposite, that social media was designed to connect with our friends and family all over the world. And it has become too businessy, right? Too much about business. And so I think when here's the deal, Tristan, you and I both know this. If you are subscribing and listening to this podcast, you're listening to it because you want to either A, stay really hip to what's happening. Like, you want to stay ahead because we're going to try to bring that to you, or B, you want to improve and you want to understand it better and you want to get better at it. And that's what we're here to teach you. But we agreed that today's episode needed to be just about the simple principles of how to do that. And, here's the thing, you and I will agree on this too. There's no right or wrong way to do social media. You're not wrong if you don't want to share your life and you want to be private. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to be limiting your audience. It's like saying, I'm going to go to a networking event. There's consistently 100 people there, and I only want to connect with 5 of them. That's it. I don't want to connect with anybody else. I don't want to grow my that.
It's like if you go to a party and you're like, well, I only want to talk to the people with a purple dress, right? And they have to be wearing glasses. And those are the people I'm going to talk to. And dude, that reminds me a lot of what Seth Godin says, right? Then maybe that is your tribe. You don't have to go big. You can go niche, purple dress with glasses. That's all I want to talk to. But then you find Jeff and you find Tristan, and we're like, well, we're kind of like social media whores. We're like, well, we want to talk to everybody, right? We want to just talk to everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that either. I think when you approach both angles, you have to say, well, what's my message to the people that I want to target? And I don't think we ever think about that. That should have been his question, the guy who asked that question, right? Or who commented in that way, saying, well, let me think about this. Maybe my message should change if I'm only going to target these people. Because you go and watch doctors, attorneys, or whoever, they're on social media. And they're going crazy on social media. And then there are those that don't go crazy on social media.
And what I actually responded to the post too. And I said, the reality is those of us in real estate, and this podcast is not real estate specific. We just happen to have big real estate audiences. This is all business specific. So any of you who are not real estate should take really big note of what I'm about to say. Real estate is the leader in the marketing and branding world. I think one of the biggest reasons is because it is so competitive. There are so many real estate agents, sales professionals in comparison to most other industries. It's very entrepreneurial. It's dog eat dog. You really got to fight. And you are your own business. Even though you're attached to a brand, you really are the brand. And so it forces you to have to differentiate and get creative and not be traditional. Well, even though most of them are, but those who are reaching a higher pinnacle of success are the ones who are doing this branding on social media. And so for those of you not in real estate, like your light bulb should be shining right now, like opportunity, because odds are your industry is living in the Stone Ages. And your biggest fear, apprehension of doing what we're going to talk about throughout this podcast is that, well, nobody does it that way in my industry. I'm going to get criticized. People are going to poke fun at me. People are going to mock me, right? But it's the innovators. Every innovator goes through that. What do you want to be? Do you want to be a follower or do you want to be a leader?
That's a great point, dude. And going back to just Facebook in general, when I created this Facebook group, the Lab Coat Agents one, it was people were like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you wasting time on Facebook? What is this all about? Why are you doing that? And I think it's just part of what we go through. I mean, look, people were making fun of you on TikTok too. When you now it took off, and now it's one of the top 4 social media platforms. And you jumped in pretty early, man. So I think it's just part of what we have to do when we look at something like social media and we become early adopters. At the end of the day, we don't know if it's going to take off and work, but we can learn in the process of trying to adopt that one particular social platform and then apply it to the rest. And that's what a lot of people miss, right? That learning part.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's talk a little bit about our strategies. And again, remember, folks, there's not one right way to do this. Everybody has their own way. You and I are very different. In fact, you and I admittedly focus on different aspects of social media because we work so closely together. We feel like, well, you focus on that, I'll focus on this, and let's go figure them out. And then we'll share, right? We'll compare notes and then grow together. And that's kind of what this whole podcast is about. And so what I would like to do, Tristan, is both of us share our strategies for social, just because I know we're both very different. And I'm gonna let, since you're my elder, I'm gonna let you go first. I'm actually older than Tristan, for anybody wondering, by like 3 months.
Barely, dude. Barely. I don't even know if we count. I think we're twins. There you go.
I got the light skin. I got the light skin version.
Come on, twins, baby. I love
I want you to share, like, I know I have a strategy and I'm going to share it, but I want to know, like, what is your strategy when it comes to social, when it comes to your personal brand, when it comes to your business? Like, how do you attack it? And I guess kind of equate it or articulate it to where it's something that, somebody can understand and potentially take bits and pieces and make in their own.
Well, I think it had to start in one place, which was just breaking it down to a simple form to be able to follow a system consistently. And you've heard me say it before, which is that the STAY system, and that's sell, teach, advice, you. And regardless of what platform you decide to go in on, I think we find that when you focus just in on one, all right, this is part of the social strategy. You go all in on one. As you grow that one, then you can start growing the rest by sending people to the left, to the right, over here, over there. But you have to go all in on one. And part of that is having a system that works. So here it is. It's it's going through this STAY and then liking, comment, and messaging. So I'm going to pick Facebook because that's where I'm great at. And then now you see I'm going in on YouTube. ClubHouse is doing well. So let's go all in on Facebook, and this is what it looks like today. Let's say I'm going to use the sell technique, the S on the STAY, and I'm going to be talking about selling because I'm a real estate agent too. So I'm going to be talking about selling a home, but I'm going to tell it with a story, right? I'm going to be selling with a story. And that goes into me picking a feature in this home that stands out so that my audience could be like, oh, this is cool. I never knew that. Oh, Tristan's taking us through a process, through a story about the home, about the sellers, about something. The point is you engage with a story, and that's how you're selling. That's one. Next is teach. We can easily teach, but we forget that we have all of this knowledge and we never take time to break it down for our audience. Like me as a real estate agent, I know the processes. You as a mortgage broker, you know processes for lending that people need to know that we just take for granted. And so breaking it down like, hey, you're buying a home. Guess what? There's 3 steps that you need to look for in this current market to stand out. Here they are: 1, 2, 3, 3-minute video, 4-minute video, done. I just taught. Next, advice. Now, this is where you and I shine, because this is where you and I step out of our world that we do for a living and we bring them into our world where we have fun, right? Like you, I'm looking at the background. I see baseball bats. I see a Cardinals logo. And then I also see all the social media squares. By the way, I got mine. Thank you. I just got them over the weekend. And so you look at my background and, well, besides the whiteboard, on the other side of the whiteboard, you would see Spider-Man, you would see a Stormtrooper helmet, Baby Yoda, more Baby Yoda, Star Wars, and comic books. That's my love right there. And so we bring that into the world that we're in, and we showcase that in our social media. So when you look at what I do, if you go spy into my social media, I bring in my Stormtrooper helmet. I bring in Baby Yoda, right? I bring in the technology that I use because I love tech. And then I let that speak for itself to connect with that audience, right? Now, all of a sudden I have a bigger audience because of it, right? I'm not going out for that lady with the purple dress and the glasses. I'm going for as many people as I can. And I'm using what I love here, in this case, my advice for tech and comic books and Star Wars. And then the why is you. We go deeper into connecting with people by showing them what I'm eating. Dude, this weekend I posted a half-eaten peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it blew up. I was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I never know, but dude, I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And then I started having people tell me that I should toast it. I should put butter on it and then toast it. I'm like, these are great. I love peanut butter. So I dig that. And that's STAY. And then that's part of it. The other part is going in and taking the time to engage with those people that you follow, like, comment, and message, right? You message them privately. Like if I'm going to go and take a look at Jeff's account and I'm going to like it, I'm going to comment. And then after I'm going to be like, well, if Jeff and I weren't close, like we didn't talk as often because we freaking talk every day. If we weren't closed and I only saw him like once a week, maybe two, maybe three, maybe once a month, then I would message him and be like, bro, those baseball bats are insane. Did you get any of them signed? Right? That's the private message. It takes it deeper. That's my strategy. You can do that all in one day. You can spread it out for the week, but that's what I do.
I love it, man. I love it. And you know what? One thing you said that I wanted to go back to real quick before I share mine is the purple dress and glasses mindset. And there's two sides to it. Like we say tongue in cheek, and I use this term a lot, use the word whore a lot, which is probably not a very nice term, but we use it lovingly and fun about ourselves. So it's self-deprecation in a way.
Yep.
But the truth is, if and I kind of followed Tristan's lead on this. Truthfully, when I first met him, you know, he's wearing a t-shirt. We're at a conference. I show up in a sport coat and button-down shirt, and I'm thinking, man, I want to dress like that. Like that's comfortable. And the truth is now that, you know, my wardrobe has evolved and it's hats and t-shirts and casual, and people will ask me, it's like, well, don't you worry about what people are going to think? And the answer is no. And so it's not necessarily that it's not the purple and the glasses. It's if you don't like me for who I am, I don't want to do business with you anyway, because I'm not on social media to be fake. Like I'm going to be real. And that doesn't mean that wearing suits is wrong, because we've got a good couple friends, a lot of friends who dress super nice. That's their style. That's how they're comfortable. Well, I'm comfortable being the way I'm going to dress pretty much 7 days a week. And you know what? I go to a conference, I'll put a sport coat on over my t-shirt, but I'm still going to wear a hat because that's my brand. And if you don't let me wear a hat, then you probably don't want me there, because the whole reason you're going to have me there is probably because of brand anyway. So I do want to point that out, that like, be yourself and don't worry about what people think. So it's interesting that what Tristan just shared, because I'm a lot different than that in a way. I mean, we have a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. And I lead my social media strategies is led with my personal life. So it's definitely led with the why, with the you. I am a proponent of sharing. This is my general social media strategy as it relates to especially Facebook and Instagram. 4 to 5 feed posts every single week. Not like my business post. That's separate. That's in addition to just feed posts, me personally sharing something, not somebody that I hired. And then at least 5 to 7 stories every single day. And I hold to that because I hold myself accountable. I'll go check. If I haven't done it, I will go to the well. And the well being my camera roll, and I will find something to share. And on my stories, by and large, I'm sharing what I'm doing every single day, whether it's my kids, whether it's my pets, whether it's my wife, whether it's my travels, whether it's what I'm eating, whether it's what I'm doing business-wise, whether it's what I'm sharing. Dude, actually, I just shared a post, and this is ridiculous, and I probably will people will question me on this, but it shares it's my personality, it's my immaturity. We had a borrower name come across email today, and his last name is Peterlick. See, Tristan shares in the same immaturity, and I shared it. I shared it. I used the features on Instagram, so it like typed the word out. And
some people are going to get pissed off at that though, but I thought it was funny.
But and that's fine. And that's the point is that I'm not afraid to kind of self-deprecate and say, I know I'm a 13-year-old at heart. And a few of us within our company giggled, and we shared it amongst ourselves. And I even put at the bottom, if this is your last name, I apologize for my childish humor. Right. But the point is it's like the way I think when it comes to social media is this: you have to dig deep and change your mindset to where literally everything happening over the course of your day, I'm always thinking, is that shareable? Is that something that I want to share with my audience to really entertain them? And I guarantee that stupid story will probably be one of my best performing stories of the week, because how stupid it is, but people will get a kick out of it because a lot of us have immature humor. Now, there's going to be some people that probably turn their nose up at it, and that's okay. That's just who I am. But generally speaking, I'm always just trying to figure out how can I connect with my audience so they can get to know me, like me, and trust me without actually interacting with me or ever even meeting me in real life. And because the way I look at social media is this: going to networking events, which I'm a social guy. I like networking. I like going out to happy hours and that sort of thing, but you're limited in how many people you can touch when you do that. And what I learned with social media is that my audience now becomes infinite. And if I can be the one who's consistent and consistently showing up in their feed, then it increases my odds of getting another deal, of growing another partnership, creating another relationship. And that's exactly what's happened. And so I do that. I know why people follow me. Going back to my post in the Lab Coat Agents that I mentioned, is that social media, nobody is following me because they want to hear what I have to say about the Fannie Mae 3.0, or they want to hear about the latest, changes to the FHA guidelines. That's not why they're interested in me. Now I'll sprinkle that in to remind you this is what I do. But the reality is, Tristan, you and I both know this. Like, if you're just sharing market statistics every day and I'm sharing mortgage data every day, we have zero followings. Well, I mean, maybe
I'm not following your ass if you do that every day.
Right. I'm going to have a bunch of real estate and mortgage followers. You're going to have a bunch of real estate followers, and we're going to be basically dead in the water.
You know what I'm following you for? I want to know more about Lake of the Ozarks. I'm like, I look at him like, what boat is he going to check out? Or are you going to fall in the ice when you're?
Yeah,
I love that one.
I guess I'll circle back too. So the bottom line is, share your life. Here's what I encourage everyone to do is I always tell people, like, my strategy when I was kind of coming up and getting started in social was I closely followed like 5 to 10 people that I really enjoyed following. Either they inspired me or they entertained me primarily. And so I just took bits and pieces from them and just grew my own brand around it. And I encourage everyone who's listening to do the exact same thing. And really, when it comes to content, when it comes to business, you all know that I share plenty of that stuff, but I've also we have groups outside of our personal pages. So that way we don't have to bore the masses with the specific content, and we can be very targeted with our efforts. And so those are a couple of just general strategies we recommend. We're going to be going a hell of a lot deeper on this stuff. We're going to go deep on every single platform. Tristan, I think moving forward, these episodes, folks, are always going to be roughly 30 minutes. Maybe we'll stretch them to 40. And guess what? Occasionally we'll have a guest, but for better or for worse, it's going to be the Tristan and Jeff show for the most part, because we have fun. We have fun rapping about this stuff. And Tristan, I think next week, what we should do is we should start going deep and discussing each platform. And I think of those 10 platforms, I'm going to repeat them: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Reddit, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube, ClubHouse. Some of them we're going to spend the entire episode talking about. Others we might mix 2 or 3 together because they're just not as relevant to our business. But the moral of the story is that's what we're going to do. We're going to go down this path of really talking and going deeper on each platform. And then from there, we're going to start bringing in some experts. We're going to go deep on very specific strategies like Facebook groups or Instagram reels, or your TikTok grid. Like, we're going to be very specific of going through some strategies on things you could be doing depending on which platform you're using. And remember, folks, we'll wrap this up. Don't keep us a secret. We're kind of an extension of the Lab Coat Agents podcast. We've got our own Facebook group. If you're not a member already, go join. It's a private group called Drunk on Social. We'd love to have you there. But with that said, Tristan, you take it over. What are the closing thoughts that you have for today's episode?
Well, dude, I think the challenge for most agents, because they have to run a business, right? Listings, leads, leverage, that's what we do. They don't have the time to identify what's next on social as a whole that we can use for our businesses. And that's what we're going to be doing here, because what's Facebook doing next? Like, I talked to them this morning, and they're pivoting, right? Because of what happened with Google, what's happening with Apple, right? But what does that mean in our world? Like, what do we expect next from Facebook, which is the second, and in some cases, depending on how you look at it, the largest social media outlet along with Instagram? Like, what's next with them now that they're going to create their own websites and their own massive landing pages for businesses? Are they going to create their own browser next to have total control? I think that's where they're heading, but this is the stuff that we're going to be talking about, right?
Love it, man. I mean, I selfishly, I don't care if we have no listeners because I'm going to get something from it. And that's all that matters.
I think we'll just brainstorm together.
That's basically what this is
That's
going
what
to
it
be.
is.
So yeah, we welcome, we look forward to this journey. This is going to be a fun one. We've got a lot of things going to be happening with Drunk on Social. So join our Facebook group, subscribe to the podcast. Don't keep us a secret. Share. And you know what? If you're feeling up to it, give us a little review. We know this is only the second episode, but we want to know what you're thinking, what you want to hear. We want to hear it. And thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you next week on episode number 3.
And no more jokes about Peter Lick, okay?
Sorry,
No
you
jokes.
said it. You said it.
Thanks for listening to Drunk on Social, the Symposium. We are here to help you take your business to new levels through social media. Make sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes and come join us on our Drunk on Social Facebook page. And as always, make sure you leave us a great review on your favorite podcast app. Feedback and likes are very much appreciated.